Okay, welcome to another episode of the Pop Diner. This is Tim.
This is Dennis. And today's topic is about a movie that's got many implications for pop culture, and that movie is The Godfather. But right now, we're going to talk for a while about the real-life problems that The Godfather had with the Mafia, and also how the Mafia was civilized to an extent by the movie The Godfather. Now, The Godfather is a movie that came out in 1974.
That sounds about right. I'm not 100% sure, but...
1974, and stars Marlon Brando. It's generally considered one of the greatest movies in the history of movie making, and its sequel, The Godfather Part 2, they weren't too creative with the names, but they... that's also considered basically, they're considered two of the greatest movies in the history of film. But what a lot of people don't know is the film almost never got made, and not due to the usual studio problems or that sort of thing. The Mafia had a problem with it. They did not like the Godfather even mentioning the Mafia and being about the Mafia. A whole group was formed, an Italian action group, for lack of a better term. That wasn't the term back then, to protest it, and they shut down production many times. One of the producers actually had to go to a Mafia boss. I forget which one, but he had to have a conversation. So he gave him a copy of the script to read, so that if there was anything offensive in there, then the Mafia chief could say take it out, and they would just exercise it, get it out of there. So he went back a couple of weeks later, and he asked the mob boss. He's like, "Well, what did you think? What do you think about it?" He's like, "Oh, well, turns out he didn't read it. He gave it to a subordinate to read. So he asked the subordinate what he thought about it, and the subordinate hadn't read it either. So basically, they didn't read it at all. And since it was a book about the Mafia, they made them cut out every time the word Mafia was used in the book, because it's based on a book. The word Mafia was used once in the whole book, so that was a concession they made to the mob for the making of The Godfather. The mob also forced them to put other mob people in the movie, not for any of the main parts. Carlo Rizzi, Connie Corleone's husband, actually looks very different as described in the book than he does in the movie, because Gianni Russo was the go-between between the mob boss and the producers, and the mob bosses mandated that he be given the role of Carlo Rizzi. Luca Brasi, Lenny Montana, was he was a wrestler too, actually, but he was also a mafia hitman. In fact, the scene where Luca Brasi he's sitting on the stairs outside of the Corleone's house, reading his lines. Like he's sitting there reading lines. That wasn't meant to be in the movie. That was actually Coppola saw that and he said that's perfect, and started filming him without his knowledge, rehearsing his lines, because that's what he's supposed to do, because he was so nervous. May your first child be a masculine child, and all that. So that worked out very well too. Now, I also mentioned the civilizing influence on the Mafia. All this talk about honor and all of that sort of thing in The Godfather, the things that make these flawed heroes such compelling characters, none of that was really any sort of policy in the Mafia up until that point.
Really?
Up until The Godfather came out. Mafia is the catch-all name for all organized crime, but there's many different types. Mafia is expressly from Sicily, whereas there's other ones from other areas of Italy too. The Andrada, and I forget the rest, but the Andrada is one of them. And that really, so all organized crime now is considered the Mafia. Even though it's technically not. Even the Irish mob is not the Mafia by any stretch of the imagination. Not even from the same general area of Europe, but
the Russian Mafia.
The Russian Mafia, they're not really. But it really has subsumed the term of organized crime, and The Godfather has a lot to do with that, and the whole law of omerta, and all of that. That's all inventions. Even calling the mob boss's Godfather, that was never done.
Oh, really?
Not until the movie The Godfather came out. Mario Puzo Not until book or movie, either one. Mario Puzo really added a lot to the Mafia mythos, but he also made it a marginally safer because now they thought they had to live up to these
standards
that the movie put up, and it really, one might even say, caused a revolution in the Mafia. So I guess he gets credit for that too. Some of the old mafiosos were kind of iffy about the movie. But for the younger generation, that was it. That was the Bible. That was, okay, you want to be a mobster? This is what you do. And you do not turn on your boss. You do not do this. It was a very influential movie, not just pop culture-wise, but also real world-wise.
Good to know. Now, the funny thing I find interesting about The Godfather is the reason that this movie has had longevity is, of course, because it's such a well-made movie. It's a well-written movie. It's a well-acted movie. The thing I find interesting is, if I backtrack many years to the movie Birth of a Nation. And this is a movie that is inarguably very influential on the history of cinema. With
yes, definitely,
with the the shots that were used, but the context of what the movie was saying has been. The movie is basically very racist, and whatever. So that movie has looked back in history as an excellent example of movie making, but a poor example of history. To me, The Godfather has withstood the test of time, not only because of the cinematic skills that Coppola had and the makers of the movie, but for some reason the people seem to kind of idolize these characters and this lifestyle, and I think there's something kind of, I don't want to go as far as to say despicable, but no, I think there's something despicable about glorifying criminals, and it's done in such a unique way where it makes it almost like those James Bond villains with the ones that are smarmy and sophisticated, or I'll even switch to like Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah. Here's
a person who Hannibal Lecter is a cannibal and a serial killer and what have you, so he's obviously an odious human being. But the movie makes him so charming. You like him almost. He has endearing qualities. Even the way he treats Jodie Foster's character, you know that even though he escapes at the end of the movie, he's never going to harm her character because he's just such a respectable murderer in that sense.
He's got a moral code.
And The Godfather, to me, it kind of brought about this whole Mafia genre, which
well,
of course, Goodfellas and then The Sopranos on TV and. But to me, I don't know. To me, it's just like, I guess the connection I'm making is with Birth of a Nation is people should be disgusted by the context of this movie the way they are with Birth of a Nation.
Well, with Birth of a Nation, I think it's a different thing because the Birth of a Nation espouses something that is repugnant, while The Godfather espouses being honorable, being extremely honorable. And in the real life, obviously, the Mafia is not extremely honorable or anything like that. It's a bunch of thugs. But in the movie, what do they do bad? What do they do bad? They kill Salato and McCluskey, the police captain. And why do they do that? Because he keeps trying to kill The Godfather. And at the end, when they kill all those people, all of them. And I wouldn't say a reasonable complaint, but for most of them there is. Barzini tried to get the Don killed, and he's like a wolf and he's gonna pursue them. So the Godfather does not make an accurate portrayal of the Mafia, but it does make an inaccurate because just because you assume that all this stuff happened before, and they actually mention a gang war in the movie. Clemenza tells Michael Corleone that. This kind of thing happens every 5-10 years or so. It's good, it clears out the bad blood and all that. But they're not treated as bad guys. Even Goodfellas. In Goodfellas, I would say Goodfellas is a more realistic depiction of the Mafia, and compared to The Godfather, of course. In Goodfellas, there is even though we idolize, Henry Hill. Oh wow, he's got the great life. We see him nervous and jittery. He never kills anybody in the movie. He beats the heck out of the guy that tried to steal his girl, but he never kills anybody. That's left for Tommy DeSimone and Jimmy Conway. There's that, but there's also everyone just loves villains, and you said something about The Godfather being the first Mafia movie.
I don't say the first, but definitely the most influential in the I mean, you have all the James Cagney movies like Scarface. I mean, that's not Edward G. Robinson and Scarface.
But we'd have to expand it to mob movies. But even then, even like the 30s and 40s, since the birth of film, people have loved gangsters, and I've heard a theory that says that they love gangsters because they see these bad people doing these horrible things, and they can live vicariously through that. But then generally at the end, they get killed, and their quote unquote demons are exorcised, and I think that sounds like a very plausible thing.
Yeah, I don't know how much you maybe blame The Godfather, or me personally blame The Godfather, or just the many movies that have come out after it. I'm talking, and growing up in New York, there's a certain attitude people have towards the Mafia. It's a cool thing to claim that, yeah, I know so and so, my uncle's in the Mafia. Like, it's just cool. No one really talks about, when John Gotti, went to prison. I mean, people liked John Gotti in his neighborhood. People always defended him. He did great things for the community, but you know what? He also did horrible things. To me, it doesn't justify it. I mean, you can give 1,000 nuns $1 million each, and if you just slap one child, to me, it seems to negate it. It doesn't mean you're. That's a weird analogy, but if you kill some, I mean,
why would you give nuns? They get paid. Their lives are paid for. Why nuns?
To give to children, to give to orphans. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, to me, glorifying criminals just is irresponsible. I mean, the media has the movie makers have the right to do whatever they want. I think you have a right to see or not see a movie, but and it's not even strictly the Mafia. You look at the sort of ghetto rap term, gangster rap. Excuse me. We'll edit that out. Gangster rap.
Tim's a little old. You have to.
My ghetto blaster on my shoulder. It's the wrong thing to do. It sends kids the wrong message, because a kid is going to see. Even you see Casino. I mean, the members of the Mafia, when they put the guy's head in the vice that's cheating at the game, and like for some reason it makes it look kind of cool. I think to young kids, and to me it's easy to forget that these are criminals. I just think in general the criminal lifestyle tends to be semi-glorified in these kind of movies.
But even that example, that's not direct self-defense, but that's self-defense. Well, because the guy was cheating. It wasn't so much as random act of violence as punishment. Did the punishment fit the crime? Of course not. But at the end, everyone gets their just desserts. So I think that's a part. In the beginning, it's glorifying the stuff. Even I know Goodfellas a little bit better, so I can use that. In the beginning, everybody wanted to be a mobster. That's all I ever wanted to be. And then he gets pinched. I'm talking like them now. Then he gets caught by the cops. He goes to the court and comes out, and Jimmy Conway goes up to Henry Hill and he's like, gives him like $100. He's like, well, what's that for? He's like, because you did it right. He's like, but I got pinched. He's like, we're proud of you because and instilling that you shouldn't tell, don't tell anybody anything, blah 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 blah. And it's such a great life, and they're having such a great time, and he marries his girl, and it's great. And then the cracks start appearing, and then eventually he's got to go on the lam. He's got to testify against all his friends except for the ones that died. So everyone gets their justice. Even the Lufthansa heist, everyone who participated in that besides Jimmy Conway and Big Paulie got killed. So there is an element of, this is cool, but look what happens. So I wouldn't say that's exactly glorifying violence.
No, I guess you could say it's a kind of a cautionary tale, but at the same time, it makes the lifestyle seem appealing. Honestly, I can tell you've seen these movies more recently than me, because I haven't seen Goodfellas or
I've never
Godfather.
seen Goodfellas.
In years, actually.
I'm telling you, man. You should definitely see the Godfather. And if you can, read the book. The book is awesome.
Yeah, I know. The whole genre doesn't appeal to me. I've seen The Godfather once. I've seen Goodfellas once, and I don't feel the need to see it again. I never hopped on the Sopranos bandwagon.
That I haven't really seen. That's why I didn't bring them up.
Yeah, to me, the fact that the genre even exists is just like, it just bores me out. But everyone that likes those movies, that really, really likes those movies, I just likes the portrayal of the Mafia, and no, you don't go away loathing the characters like I think you should. I mean, no one loathes Marlon. In
Goodfellas, you do. I think in The Godfather, you don't. But The Godfather isn't really a mafia movie, believe it or not. The whole Francis Ford Coppola, they wanted him to direct it because he was Italian. And they said basically, quote, "We want to smell the spaghetti sauce coming off the celluloid," unquote. but he wasn't going to do it. And then someone said, well, this is just a metaphor for capitalism. And that's what got him to do it. He really did, because it was, to his eyes, it was an exploitation film for Italians. And so the allegory to capitalism is really what got him. But like I said, The Godfather, all those people aren't bad people, which of course we know they are, but they never attack without being attacked in the movies.
Why do they exist in the first place? That's
not even gone into, because Italians needed protection, which in many ways is why the Mafia does exist and why most organized crime came into being. Like in Goodfellas, they say what the Screws never got, Screws being cops, the Mafia was like the police for people doing illegal activities, like selling alcohol during Prohibition, stuff like that, gambling, stuff, all that. So, definitely in The Godfather, these are good people fighting a good fight and doing what a cruel world has pushed them into doing. Of course, it's not realistic; it's a movie, but that's how it's portrayed, that's how it's viewed, and I think that's how it's taken.
I think you're right. I guess I got to revisit them. That's just such a commitment. Yeah. I'd rather be watching something I would enjoy. Anything else you want to add on this topic?
No, we actually squeezed a lot more out than I thought.
Okay, if you have any comments, you can email us at popdiner@yahoo.com, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.